Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever time of day this video finds you. It's your boy Jay here, and today I want to talk about why being able to bring two weapons on a hunt is a massive deal. Okay, I think it's a huge deal. At first it sounds like it's not a big deal. Okay, so what, we can bring two weapons, but I think that bringing two weapons is going to drastically change the way they're going to be able to create monsters, and it's going to change the way that we build our armor sets. All right, so I think the first thing I want to tackle here in this video is I think being able to bring two weapons is Capcom's answer to the whole we can bring too many skills on a hunt, right? I think what they're saying is, oh yeah, all of you guys are saying the skill bloat is crazy, we can bring too many skills at the same time. Bring enough skills to support two weapons and see if you can bring everything you need. Boom, right? Because there are some weapons, right, that require more skills than others, right? Think charge blade, gun lance, right? They need like rapid morph, magazine, guard up. They need artillery for the shell damage and the file damage, right? So, and of course, like they have some synergy there, right? Like you could choose to bring a charge blade and a gun lance, and a lot of those skills will translate over to each other. Because, you know, looking at the trailer, when you see the hunters switch weapons, you don't see them change armor sets. So it's like, oh, this one armor set has to bring enough skills to support two weapons. Now, for some weapons, it'll be easier, right? Like you could just rock a sword and shield and dual blades and be like, aha, it's cool. Boom, we can go with it. But also they did confirm that you can bring two of the same weapons if you want. So if you really don't care to participate in the whole like, okay, I gotta build this armor set to support two different weapons, it's too difficult, you could just say, bump that, I'm gonna bring two of the same weapons. Which something that Gaijin Hunter has talked about, because you know he can read Japanese. He was like, yeah, on the Japanese website it says, it confirms you can bring two of the same weapons. Great. But I think the whole being able to bring enough skills to support two weapons is an awesome idea, right? Like it leads to more customization, right? It leads to, okay, we got to make a choice here. Do I want to bring two of the same weapon and really just hone in on the skills that really make that weapon great? Or do you go with two weapons and kind of max out all the skills that make both of those weapons great? You know, it's one of those, it's another choice that you have to make before the hunt. It's another choice that you have to make before you leave to explore the wilds. Love it. Another possibility that I'm thinking of is maybe your armor set has two different sets of skills, but depending on which weapon you're using, it swaps. Hear me out. Let's say the weapon that is on your back when you leave for an expedition is your main weapon, and then the weapon you choose to put in your secrets pouch is your secondary weapon, right? So that way there's like some separation when I say. But anyway, let's say the armor set has main weapon skills and then secondary weapon skills. So maybe instead of like, you know, alpha and beta sets like how we had in Monster Hunter World, we can have every armor set has two sets of skills on it depending on which weapon slot you're using, and that way you can support having two different weapons at the same time and manage to have all the skills that you need. But it also makes it kind of difficult to craft armor sets and really do the mixing and matching to get exactly what you need, because now you have to take into account what are the main armor set skills and what are the secondary slot skills. Ooh, that would be crazy, but that would lead to even more customization. It would lead to less homogenization, you know, where everyone's using the same thing. I think that won't happen anymore if we get something like that. Also, another thing to consider, I think skills that used to use the switch skill swap will be able to return, and instead of, you know, red scroll, blue scroll, it'll be main weapon slot, secondary weapon slot. That's also a possibility, because I was thinking about that too. I was like, how are skills like Mail of Hellfire gonna come back? How are skills like Dereliction gonna come back, or Berserk, or Dragon Conversion, right? Where you have a different set of conditions depending on which switch skill swap scroll you're on. Boom, now we have that. Now, if you're using your main weapon, you can have this set of conditions, and maybe if you switch to your secondary weapon, you can have this set of conditions, and really further customize your playstyle depending on which set of conditions suit that weapon best. So, you know, let's say, what was it, Dereliction, right? Where in red scroll you get a boost of raw, but blue scroll you get a boost of elemental. Boom. So now bring a great sword in your main slot, and then dual blades in your secondary slot with a lot of element on it, and you can take full advantage of both states even better than you could before. Doesn't that sound like an incredible possibility, right? That sounds incredible. So much customization. I'm so excited to see how they really work the two weapon mechanic. Like what's the nitty gritty of it. I'm excited to see it and dive into it and get to making armor sets for you guys when this game comes out, man. It's gonna be insane. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is I think the two weapon system is going to give Capcom more freedom when it comes to creating new monsters. Hear me out. So Alatreon, right? If you fight Alatreon, it starts in like fire, and then it'll switch to dragon, and then it switches to ice if you don't manage to break the horn, right? Now you gotta bring one weapon. So if you don't break the horn and it switches to ice, you're gonna eat an Eschaton Judgment and you're gonna die. However, that can no longer be true if you can bring two weapons. You can bring an ice weapon for the fire mode, and then let's say you didn't break the horn, no big deal, I'll just swap to my fire weapon. So we might get another monster similar to Alatreon, where like there's multiple different states in the hunt, because they know we can carry two different weapons. So we might get a monster where, I don't know, when it's not enraged, it takes more cutting damage, and then when it rages up, it takes more blunt damage than usual, and you can switch and swap to, you know, really customize how you want to fight it, you know. And I think that's going to give them more creative freedom to do things like that, where like, damn, the monster's completely different now. I think more monsters are going to have more phases where it's like, hey, you're going to have to swap to a different weapon, or maybe in one phase it's weak to X amount of element, and then when it switches it's weak to a different element, like my Alatreon example, but maybe on a smaller scale, right? Like Alatreon is supposed to be a hard monster, it's one of the last things you're going to fight in the game, blah 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 blah. You get what I'm saying? But I think this is going to be working to maybe the flagship, right? Everyone's hoping we get a Snake Wyvern for the flagship, me too. But let's say hypothetically, when you first encounter the Snake Wyvern thing, it's got like its scales on, right? And then maybe midway through the fight, it rages up, it sheds its skin, now it has a completely different set of hit zones, and maybe it would behoove you to swap to a different type of weapon to be able to deal the most damage. Doesn't that sound great? Doesn't that sound great? And we can already kind of see something like that when you look at the Chatacabra, right? Maybe its arms without the sticky saliva and the rocks on it are going to be super weak to cutting damage, but then the quickest way to bash the rocks off of its arms is going to be to use a blunt weapon. So swap. Go ahead and just swap. Bring a blunt weapon and a cutting weapon, swap to the blunt, bash the rocks off of its arms, do hella damage. Guess what? The rocks are gone, now it's weak to cutting again. Swap back, get back to slicing. Sounds incredible, right? Sounds like you can have more dynamic hunts. Sounds like I'm gonna have to adapt to the conditions as I see them on the fly and truly be a hunter and stay on my toes to see, okay, which of the two weapons did I bring is gonna suit this monster the best in its current state. I could ramble on forever about which two individual weapon types I'm thinking of bringing and what type of sets I'm thinking about doing, but I want to wait for more information to come out. I want to see more about what the focus mode is about and what those special moves look like. But hey, that's going to be it for today's video. I think this two weapon thing is going to be huge, and I'm very excited to really dive in and start using it to the fullest extent. Let me know in the comments down below, what two weapons are you thinking about bringing to a hunt? I'll reply to each and every comment that hits this video at least one time, and tell me what you think about what I said today in this video, right? Do you think the armor skill system has to change a little bit to support the two weapons, or is it going to be fine as it is, and we as a hunter have to make the choice? Which weapon are we going to spec into the most? And what do you think about maybe more dynamic monster designs, maybe more forms with different monsters and changing elements, because they know now you could bring two weapons. You could bring two weapons with different elements, so we're going to swap elements on the fly even more often than we did before. Let me know in the comments down below. As you all know, you guys are the real content of the video, and I love making videos that start conversations. So head to the comments, leave comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out. You know I'm going to cover Monster Hunter like crazy. And yeah, that's going to be it. Happy hunting. Peace.